What's going on, everybody? Lead Meteorologist John Choquette here from my office on my laptop to do a little more of an informal look at what we have to expect. I'm going to look at today since we do have a marginal risk here across northern Illinois. And we're going to look a little bit into this weekend and then really put the primary focus on right at the start of April here on Monday, especially into Tuesday. And then answer any questions that you guys may have if you're watching. I'm trying to get it up and rolling here on my phone. There we go. And I'm also probably going to look at the eclipse too, because it looks like we may actually have a severe weather event potentially deciding it wants to move in about the same time as the eclipse on the following Monday. So looks like we are going to be getting into a much more active period here after, of course, we had the really, really intense day in mid-March where we had the biggest hail day for storm reports in U.S. history. And then after that, if we kind of went into a little bit of a quieter period. I know here in Oklahoma City, we had a much cooler forecast. It ended up being a lot cooler. We had snow here in Oklahoma City the other day. The month is ending a lot cooler than it started, that's for sure. So just kind of going into it now that we um, got some folks on here while we're doing this. Go ahead, give this a share, like, all that fun stuff. Thanks for tuning in here on Good Friday. And of course, we got Easter coming up this weekend. And will we see any storms? So we'll kind of break that down for you. So what we have for today, we do have a marginal risk. It is primarily for, or I think it's only for hail, actually. Yeah, it's a risk for hail for sections of eastern Iowa and into north central portions of Illinois. This just ever so barely does not include Chicago itself. We zoom in there. So it just stays probably on the westernmost fringes of the metro. So what does that look like? What are we looking at for the models here? Basically a chance for some hail with any storms that form later on this evening. This is the forecast model from one of the more recent runs here that is actually out far enough to see when storms were likely going to occur. You move forward, so this is about 7 p.m. Central Time. Got a couple storms trying to fire up here in far southeastern sections of Iowa, and then you notice all this convective activity decides to get going here around dark and just after dark. And this is what that marginal risk is for. It looks like there is just enough instability in place in portions of Iowa and Illinois for some storms to form this evening. Don't expect anything crazy out of this. There's not going to be like some freak storm like softballs or anything. I think maximum hail size on anything that happens this evening would be at most 1.5 inches. So that ping pong ball size, I think primarily a lot of the sub-severe hail, possibly some high volumes of hail, but that smaller hail size overall. So we move through. So here we go. This is at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Notice you have a lot more activity here. That's just more heavy rain. And 11, and then by midnight, you still have some storms here in central Illinois, north central Illinois. Got a lot of rain in the Chicago area. Where your best chance for hail would be, that would be in these southern storms here. Any sort of isolated activity, the southernmost section of convection, everything up to the north. I mean, that's going to be a lot of heavy rain, likely not too much in the way of hail. And then as we move through the overnight hours, this all just kind of moves off to the east and isn't really a threat for any severe weather. So that is kind of what we're seeing for this evening. Again, nothing too crazy. I think if I had gone and made the graphics on our or down in our studio, I think I'd give like Davenport, like the little green icon, the low chance, and then Chicago would be low as well. You're really leaning towards further to the west, the westernmost fringes of the metro for that. So that's just for this evening and into tonight. We do have other severe risks if we just go back to the Storm Prediction Center. So I'm not going to linger on this too much. That's what we're seeing for tonight. Tomorrow for Saturday, it's not looking like we're going to see really much of any severe weather. It's going to be quiet on Saturday. And then for Easter, what are you expecting for Easter Sunday? well, whoops, I went too far. Dang it. For Easter Sunday, it looks like a lot of the country will be pretty quiet overall. I think we really have the best chance for any severe weather is going to be in that marginal risk zone here. This includes but not limited to Kansas City, the St. Louis area, areas south of Chicago, so like that central Illinois area, Des Moines, places like Peoria, Springfield, Bloomington, etc., Illinois, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, Columbus, here in the Great Lakes region. That's your best chance. And again, this is a hail risk. So it looks like it could be some hail. I don't think it'll impact anybody who's going out to Easter Sunday services or anything in the morning. This is going to be later on in the evening event, but it's primarily for some hail development here on Sunday. So we can shift over onto the models. I think, let's see, I think the 12Z run from this morning should go. Does it go out far enough? I don't think so. Making sure I'm not crazy here, and then we'll look briefly at Sunday. I would consider Sunday as a severe risk the day before the day. Oh, looks like there is some activity trying to fire up. So this could be actually very early in the morning on Sunday, at least from this model run. Let me bring up a model that can go a little further out. Bring up the NAM here. So for Easter Sunday itself, again, we have the big risk day is Monday, right? So Sunday could be that day before the day. You get a couple storms here or there. Again, really in the Great Lakes region. If you're in Oklahoma, you're in Texas, you're looking like you're going to have a fairly nice Easter. Looks pretty warm as well. The warm weather really is returning. That's going to set the stage for some severe weather for Monday. So this is that look at Sunday. So this is the overnight hours. So this is at uh, let's see, depending on what time zone you're in, it's either 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. And as the day wears on, not a lot. And you do see here right around 7 p.m., you have a couple storms trying to form up near the Chicago area. So this is going to be Sunday evening. Notice there is the model is trying to show a lot of precipitation. It's them trying getting that moisture return. We have a warm front that's going to kind of draped over the area, and that will provide that lift necessary for some storms to form. Could be some hail potentially, that golf ball size, maybe some Easter egg size hail if Mother Nature wants to be timely to the day. But overall, I think Sundays, again, it's something our team obviously will be watching very carefully, very closely. We do have, I don't know which one of the meteorologists got pinged with being on call for for Easter Sunday, but we'll have people watching that as some storms Sunday afternoon into the evening hours, possibly even later into the overnight, and that sets the stage for Monday, which will be the probably much talked about if you guys are on social media at all and you're really paying attention to, you follow any other weather pages, you've probably seen this graphic here at some point, and this is the risk for Monday. So Monday we do have already the day 4 through 8 that the Storm Prediction Center does. They put out yellow 15% areas for areas that are consistent in the models and show that potential for severe weather. And then they'll put in this orange area, that 30%. It's like guarantees an enhanced risk when we move on to the day 3 once we get to tomorrow. And includes a lot of areas. So this could be our first more robust severe event that we've had since March 14th. It does, but right now, Storm Prediction Center does include OKC, Dallas, Fort Worth, Waco, Austin, that I-35 corridor all the way up to Kansas City, got Wichita, St. Louis, a lot of areas that got impacted on the 14th, honestly, like St. Louis, Dallas, eastern Oklahoma, portions of a large area of Missouri, portions of northwestern Arkansas, a good chunk of Arkansas as well, and even into Illinois, Indiana, and portions of Ohio. So what is causing this potentially pretty robust event with hail and tornadoes and winds, and then have it move east on Tuesday? Well, Couple different things. So I'll go. I'm going to look in the national view here in the United States, and I'm going to switch it over to, instead of this one of these convective models, we're going to switch it over to the GFS, or the American model. If you guys see it on TV or hear us talking about it, we're going to look at the American model and the European model as well. Kind of see some differences. There isn't 100% agreement on anything yet. We are what, a couple days out. Uh, we have our two biggest models, the American model and the European model, showing slightly different variations of what we're looking at here. So this is the 500 millibar. This is the jet stream, right? So we're pretty much looking for that big dip in the jet stream here as it moves into the central US. You can see here by Saturday, so this is tomorrow, this big storm system off the coast of California. This is the moneymaker, guys. This is going to be the big storm that moves across the U.S. and causes the severe weather going into the beginning of the week. So this is tomorrow afternoon. This storm system digs pretty deep here and moves on shore by Sunday. And that really had that deep digging of this trough does allow the moisture to return to up into the southern plains and into portions of the Great Lakes region, allowing for a greater amount of moisture, greater amount of instability available, and on top of that, uh, this ejection here of the trough, we have a good amount of shear, so that risk for tornadoes is going to be there, and that much larger, more robust hail. Like again, like we had on March 14th, we had that crazy big hail. Uh, Conditions could be set similar to that. We have really steep lapse rates. It's still early in the season. Hail can be a little easier to form here when you have colder air aloft. We have a lot more to work with. So, yeah, this is a this particular run of the American model is looking pretty good for that potential for some tornadic activity. I wouldn't be surprised. Southeastern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, pretty much the quad state, whatever you want to call it here, northwest Arkansas, southwest Missouri, southeast uh, Kansas, and northeastern Oklahoma. Could see some pretty nasty storms of this. Notice as we get into the evening hours of Monday, the jet stream is screaming at 500 millibars. So we could, so that could cause some more intense potential severe weather here. And this all moves to the east on Tuesday, and then after Tuesday you have a big ridge in the jet stream, a big dip here. Where would you put a moderate risk? Where would you put a moderate risk for the area within the enhanced risk? Right now, I wouldn't say moderate risk. I'll show you guys the European model. There are some differences. Uh, I like to have more model agreement, right, before we get into what's going to be. I mean, everything pointing this. There are a couple things the models are showing that I'll jump into here in a second. I am going to just go ahead and look beyond. So the rest of this week, after you get past Monday and Tuesday, it should be a little bit quieter. You have a big trough out east. I wouldn't be shocked, my friends up in the Northeast, you see some snow from this thing midweek. There you go, first week of April. I mean, growing up there, it wasn't super uncommon that it snowed close to my birthday, which is in mid-April. But notice here on the 5th, we have another storm system already coming in, and this is going to set the stage for the atmosphere to recover. And we're going to go into the start of next week, which is when the eclipse is going to be, with that potential for more severe weather. So that storm system for Monday, where do we go? On Monday here, this is the trough I'm thinking of. Kicking in again that midweek, early portion of next week. This could also be, ugh, that's actually a negative tilted trough too. That would be nasty as hell. But again, this is a lot further out. Looks like we could see the wave train is really here. We've been talking about this all late winter, early spring here, about how this year is going to be active, and the pattern is definitely uh, starting to show more signs of life. We've had all these storm systems ripping through here the back half of March, which has been cooler. I mean, that's kind of how March tends to be. You have that cooler temperature, so it's kind of feast or famine. You either get crazy severe weather or it kind of dies off like it did this year. We had the one really big event. So, looking at the dew points, so this is that your moisture content, like how much humidity you have to work with. Usually, it's more fuel for the storms, right? As we move up to Monday, this is at 7 o'clock in the morning, and this is 9 o'clock in the morning, or 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and then about midday. Notice the dry line. It's pretty clear here. You have the here's all the higher that moisture, dew points in the 60s, and then a pretty sharp dry line here in western Oklahoma. And I think one of the comments just said that, and the thing I was going to mention, just noticing model trends, knowing how things generally trend with storm system like this, and the fact that we are still in an El Nino, this storm system is slowing down. I think with my forecast as I see it right now, I do think we'll see storms form west of I-35 on Monday. So that does put Oklahoma City, Dallas, Austin, uh, maybe even probably not as far south as San Antonio. I think the cap's going to hold there, but it does put those areas at risk. Again, the trend has been the last couple of days where this dry line is taking more time to make that journey to the east. Oh, come on, computer. Google Chrome. Yeah, Google Chrome's not wanting to play ball right now. There we go. So notice here at 21Z, so that's going to be later in the afternoon, 4 o'clock. Got that dry line pretty much right on I-35 right here. I wouldn't be shocked if we're looking at this time tomorrow. Things are trending further to the west, and one of the other models, the NAM, which is more for the convective storm stuff, that ends up even showing it slowing down a bit. There is a concern for a cold front coming crashing from the north, but the American model isn't really showing that too much. It shows this plenty of time for that robust severe weather to occur uh, before you have the severe weather going on. Do you think there could be a cap in Texas? Yes. I mean, there'll definitely be a cap in Texas. It's just Chris. It's just Chris downstairs watching. Chris White. Uh, there will be a cap in place in Texas. We'll see how strong that cap is. I think right now, based on the amount of forcing we'd get from that dry line surging to east, I actually would be a little. I would honestly be a little concerned of possibly the whole dry line firing, like if things race to the east. But again, for if you're a storm chaser, you want to see tornadoes. You probably want to be northeastern Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas areas, like Joplin. Uh, you start getting further east from there, and then you get in the Ozarks, and like that's just crappy chase terrain. But I know that's not necessarily what looking for here. I think the hail risk is gonna be pretty robust. Lapse rates look great. Lapse rates are basically uh, how to put it in layman's term. It's what you need to have really good hail production. So you I think any storms that form in the southern plains, so that Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Missouri region, if storms form, they stay isolated. You could have uh, that you could have some pretty big hail. I mean, the hail size potential with this. Let's see. Let me just go ahead and let's roll it back prior to initiation. I'll just click on the Miami, Oklahoma area. That's a crappy. I grabbed a crappy. Yeah. I'm trying to get you guys. I don't want to grab this. I try not to grab these too much because they can be a lot of information. But yeah, you have. That looks. It's kind of it's kind of tough for me to do this using only one product, and I haven't really looked too deeply. I haven't looked deeply enough at this to know exactly where to click. But either way, it could have some pretty. I live 10 minutes away from Miami, Oklahoma. I got a lot of family up there, so the other area you got to pay attention to for Monday as well is here along that warm front in the Great Lakes region. Could have some storms form there as well. So that's why you have that potentially robust risk extending all the way from Oklahoma and Texas into the Great Lakes. So, your Iowa, not Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, all could see some pretty nasty storms. Notice everything rapidly goes off to the east overnight on Tuesday, and then you have another chance for some storms on Tuesday here in the eastern portions of the U.S., um, pretty much within the Appalachian Mountain area, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, the Carolinas, and down into the deep south, like Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia. Biggest question is going to be storm mode on that. So Monday, I'm pretty confident we will see some supercells. So more hail producing uh, storms by Monday night. Again, we roll this back. Look how quickly this all shifts off to the east. That could lead into a very long, powerful squall line. That really doesn't encourage too much hail development. Could be some spin up tornadoes, but that's more of a straight line wind threat for Tuesday, assuming that's what goes down. Again, this is going to be we're going to have to see what storm mode ends up being for Tuesday. Will there be severe weather on Tuesday? Absolutely. I think where the National Weather Service has right now for Tuesday is pretty fair. Across, again, the Appalachian Mountains, down into from about Birmingham up to possibly in the DC area for Tuesday. But I think, again, Monday. So you have Sunday here across the Great Lakes. And then, again, the main show is going to be here on Monday across really portions of eastern Oklahoma, where you have the highlight at 30%. That's your most likely chance of seeing a severe weather event occur. And I wouldn't be shocked when push comes to shove. So once we get to the day one forecast on Monday, that dry line pushes all the way to the west, and you have storms forming. And I think that's partially why they have this risk area as far back as almost Woodward, Oklahoma, because that dry line is the storm system slowing down a little bit. That dry line will likely be further to the west and have that potential for severe weather. Hail could be pretty big with this stuff, guys. Uh, let's see. What do you predict for Florida for the next week? Possibly on Wednesday. You could see some storms on Wednesday as this whole storm system pushes through, resets the atmosphere, and then you get more severe weather for uh, after that. Ohio is taking over right now for tornadoes this year. Yes, yes. That one event on the 14th, it's amazing this time of year. You just get one state to really get unlucky with tornadoes, and they will be leading the pack for a little while. I don't think Ohio's going to get away with it at the end of the year. I think Texas and Kansas might actually have a decent year for tornadoes this year. There hasn't been Kansas has been dry as a bone in terms of tornadoes for the last few years. I think this year that's changing. Illinois, I think, is going to have a lot of tornadoes again, but Oklahoma, here in Oklahoma, I think we'll have some more. So Tulsa, yes, Tulsa could see some big hail on Monday as well, especially if that storm's fire, the dry line is on I-35 when storm's fire. Tulsa could be right in the crosshairs for Monday. So I'm gonna look at the European model now. So we're gonna see some differences here, right? So that's why I can't say like moderate risk or high risk or anything like that. I think the potential for significant severe weather is definitely there for Monday, and it may potentially catch some folks off guard, especially if you guys are doing stuff on Easter and you're obviously not paying attention to weather or anything, and you don't live in the Great Lakes where you might see some severe weather on Sunday. You'd be waking up on Monday and be like, "Holy crap! Oh man, I was not paying attention, and now suddenly we got this breathing down my neck." So I'm trying to give you guys a heads up here for at least I take this weekend to pretty much get myself mentally ready for next week and pretty much all of April, honestly. So This is what the European model is showing. We have going into Monday. Notice the timing, a little different. The model's really showing this trough almost, godly, it's like almost cutting off from the jet stream. Uh, really positive tilt. And like the overall, so by overall, a positive tilt trough with some negative little lobes coming out there. And this shows jet stream crashing south on Tuesday, and then another huge trough going into the northeast. I haven't really been paying close attention on that snow potential up in the northeast, but Lord, I wouldn't be shocked if they get something nasty here. This is my first time looking at the European model comes out a little later, so I'm kind of seeing what it's showing in real time here. It gets a little chaotic and crazy there at the end of the run. I'm not sure if I believe that. So let's look at the dew points. Let's see where that dry line is going to be setting up here on the European model. See how different is it from the American model here. There's going to obviously be a fair amount of agreement. Storm Prediction Center typically does not get aggressive on the days 4 through 8 forecast without some agreement here from the major model suites. Fast forward in here, getting towards on Sunday, again to Monday. Yeah, look at that. Look at the amount of robust moisture on Monday morning. And this is going to be, so this is Monday at midday. A couple things I noticed, dang it. A couple things I noticed here. Notice that, so that's at 18Z. So this is at 1 p.m. We have not as straight of dry line. That makes sense. The way that the European model is showing this trough, it's showing kind of a different shape, kind of different angle of approach, really. So it's almost like a bit of a cold front, and then the dry line here. But notice it's further to the west. So again, that westward trend is showing. We get all the way to 0Z. So that's 7 p.m. on Monday, and the dry line has not gotten through Oklahoma City, and it's west of Dallas, even like a fair bit west of I-35. So that puts, I think I-35 is very much in play on Monday. I think the most significant areas for like tornadoes, east of Shawnee, Oklahoma. If you draw a straight line north-south from like Shawnee, Oklahoma, east, that's your better chance. So folks in like Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, Joplin area, southeastern Kansas, that's going to be your best bet. If you're a storm chaser watching to see where should I go chase, I can tell you from life that that area can get real crappy for chasing. A lot of hills and lakes and everything and anything that can get in the way of good visibility. But I know that's not what I'm here for. And it does show this. We have that really strong warm front here in the St. Louis area through central Illinois and up into portions of Indiana. Indianapolis could be a play again. Cincinnati could play again. Uh, Anywhere in Arkansas could really see some pretty nasty storms. And yes, yeah, the NAM model does have the dry line a lot further to the south as well. So everything starts to move to the east on Tuesday. Have that cold front. Even without me looking at what the precipitation output for the model is, I can tell you that's a angry squall line racing across the southeast on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday there's your chance for some severe weather in Florida. So looks like there's some general agreement. I think the westward trend is, I'd put my money on that right now. I think areas that really highlight are the I-35 corridor, points east, and then along, what's the highway? The I-44 corridor, and then was it I-70, I think is what goes. I'm trying to remember which highway. I'm trying to remember what I don't remember all the interstates super great, but let's see if I can zoom in on here. Yeah, the I-44 corridor, and then like from like Indianapolis point south, like I feel like those are all areas that really could see some big stuff. Let's look at that precipitation here nationally from the European model. What is it showing for actual storm development? Again, these are global models. These are the big models. Like a lot of times, what you see on TV, what we show you guys in our daily forecast, those are the CAM. So the high resolution models that update almost every hour. Then get real granular and much better at realizing what a convective storm event is. They're much more small scale storms. These models are more for the big, large scale events. So really, you're not pinpointing exactly where storms are going to be. It's just more or less showing, okay, we got some storm development here, showing the cap breaking. So we have going into Sunday evening, the European model is showing that storm development across sections of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and possibly even as far to the west as northern Missouri and portions of Iowa, which we had already talked about for Easter Sunday. Moving on to Monday here, models are showing pretty active severe weather uh, in the afternoon across that warm front region. So that's going to be St. Louis, your Indianapolis, Springfield, Illinois, Evansville, Indiana, Louisville, Kentucky area. Uh, and then boom, by 7 p.m., look at that. We got, again, this don't take this for gospel or anything. This is just showing where storm development is, and it's showing a pretty robust event, showing storms firing all the way down to almost Austin, and storms all across eastern Oklahoma, portions of Arkansas, Missouri, all of that, showing storms forming. That's all you really need to see here for these kinds of models. And notice you have like the blobs, and it's not just a big angry line. So that's showing supercells likely. The environment in place is shear, so that's change of wind with vertical lift in the atmosphere, that rotation in the atmosphere really promotes that supercell potential. And then moving into Tuesday, there's that squall line that forms and moves off to the south and east. And then by Wednesday, storms moving through the peninsula of Florida, so like Orlando, Tampa, Miami, etc. And then big old snowstorm up in the Northeast to end your work week. Sure, my parents will be thrilled if I tell them I gotta get the shovels out for first week of April. That's par for the course. I'll do the same thing for the American model since I neglected to do that before I switched over to the European. Again, that was my first time looking at that one. Let's see here what we got. How is it different? We just move it ahead. Yeah, that storm's forming on Sunday across the Great Lakes region. And then for Monday, the American model does show, a lot of storms forming across Missouri, into Kansas, Oklahoma here. Probably an early start for storms as well. This isn't going to be we're sitting around till 7 p.m. I think it's very possible on Monday that the workday will start and storms will be already just kind of still ongoing from overnight, potentially in the Great Lakes region, kind of depending on what's going on there. And then throughout the day, storms in the warm front region, and then along the dry line later in the evening. It does show storms. Again, these are the global models, so you're not going to get granular. It's basically storms form. That's all you need to know. And then Tuesday, it does show an attempt at a squall line of some kind. And I think this also shows a potential for a snowstorm. Yeah, it does show a snowstorm at the end of the week in the Northeast. So that's kind of what we're looking at. I know this is a way more loosey-goosey, laid-back discussion about the potential for severe weather. I'm trying not to get too crazy into some of the things we look at on the models here. One thing I will show, because I know I'm invested in this, and there's quite a few folks who want to go see the eclipse. I mean, I plan on being there. I'm not going to say where I'm going to be at, but I plan on being there to see the eclipse. It's moving through a lot of folks. We're getting close. let's look at the cloud cover model. I can tell you, big asterisk on this, right? Like, this is one of the things the forecast models are notoriously awful at predicting. So if you're seeing on social media being like, oh, the whole thing's ruined, there's nothing, there's nowhere where there's going to be anything. It's like this has been changing wildly every run. Um, there is concern. I will say now at this point, there's a little bit of concern. We do have a storm system pushing out potentially right as the eclipse is happening, where again that potential for severe weather. I'm hoping things slow down. Basically, I'm hoping everything slows down by like a day. So instead of the storm system kicking out on Monday, it kicks out like Tuesday, and we have clear conditions. But this is what we're looking at right now. Thankfully, pivotal weather does have the path of totality pop up once we get onto the 8th here. So I don't have to like guesstimate it. There we go. So this is where the path of totality is going to be, where you get the cool stuff. I was at the 2017 eclipse. It is really cool if it's something that you can even take an hour to do. It moves right through Dallas Fort Worth. So if you are, as long as you're not in Denton County, I think you get into totality. So it'll happen. You'll see it. It's worth checking out. Don't look at the sun without the glasses. You will burn your retinas. But this is at 18Z, so that's at 1 p.m. That is when totality is primarily moving through. There is a lot of cloud. This is showing a lot of cloud cover in Texas. Arkansas might squeak it out a little bit here, and then I think a lot of folks are planning on going to Niagara Falls for the eclipse. The center line's really close to Niagara Falls. It's looking a little bit better. I think this storm system here is the big question mark. If it can slow down by even 6 hours, I think a lot of folks will have clear conditions for it. Again, this is just kind of a general, I'm peeking out. I've been looking at this every day. It has been changing constantly. You have plans to go see the eclipse, and you're religiously living off this. You're gonna have a panic attack every day, every 6 hours when you're looking at this. I would check back in by the 4th, 5th. You're starting to get a little closer. Even just like that, the day before, you have a better idea. If you want to be mobile, if you're really determined to see uh, the totality with no clouds obstructing anything, you got to be mobile. But otherwise, I mean, we're just kind of seeing where this all goes. So, and with that, the following week, I think there will also be quite a bit of severe weather as well. I think we are really things are our forecast that I mean, I had put the forecast together. If you came to our event, you saw any of the stuff on here on Hill Trace. I had put that together in January and didn't really change it very much. Usually, once I'm done and I hand it off to Derek to put whatever other stuff he puts into it, uh, I tend to not touch it. I like to kind of stick to my guns. And as things have been evolving so far, I think we are going to have a much different April than we had in March. March it's going to go down as one of the busier Marches. It was just really crammed into like a week and a half long period within the month. I think April is going to be a lot more robust for more of the month. I think we'll have potentially a pretty big event next week. Uh, Only a little bit of a break, and then it's going to come again. And then the wave train is very aggressive. And there's a lot of, I'd say, almost like anger in the atmosphere this year. And the oceans are very warm. So I think that I'm sticking to my guns. I think we're going to get real active. I think April is going to rock and roll. And we'll be here covering it for you guys. We're going to do some live coverage. I know we have some staffing limitations at the moment. So there's reasons why we haven't been able to go live as much as we'd like to, but we are going to try our very best to do that. Thanks for tuning in, listening to me chit chat for a while here. What to expect? You will definitely have a forecast on Monday. Don't worry. We'll have a full-fledged breakdown of everything, what to expect on Monday, where to expect it, and the most likely chances. If you gun to my head right now, pick city, I'd say, I don't know, probably like the Joplin area, Springfield, Missouri area look pretty good for Monday. Possibly St. Louis again. Tulsa is possible for the most likely. The other cities, keep a real close eye on: OKC, Dallas, Austin, Indianapolis, possibly even Chicago if things trend a little more north. We'll see. So, again, thanks for watching, guys. Give us that like, that subscribe, or not subscribe, whatever you guys watch this on, man. I'm not gonna go through the whole rigmarole. We'll see you when we see you on Monday for that 12 p.m. forecast. Happy Easter, everyone, and I'll see you then.